Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You are listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Let's get to it.
Anthony for three. That one goes down, and the game is tied.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
The Yankees are champions of baseball.
Shaking and baking right here on the neophyte.
U.S. trying to close the show.
She was doing a great job of feeding that. It's over.
Coming up, so Yankee, don't you regret not coming to the net? Don't you regret not coming to the net?
Game over. World Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
All right. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to episode 712 of the podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Yanks every series, Knicks every game. We also do MMA on occasion. We are talking New York Yankees in this episode as they take 2 out of 3 from the Seattle Mariners. In Seattle, they clinch the playoffs. So that's good, right? There's a good feeling around this team. There's been a good feeling around this team this month, at least, ever since they called up Dominguez. But the Yanks take 2 out of 3. They are up by 4 games in the division. They, before yesterday's loss, were winners in 9 of 12. So things are feeling good still, despite that loss. You throw it away, were they hangover? That's kind of an excuse. Win the goddamn baseball game. Your job as a professional athlete is to go out there and be prepared. But whatever, and we'll certainly talk more about that celebration maybe a little later in the show. Regardless, the Yankees still have a good shot. You want this to be over soon, the division. You don't want it to be where you lose ground in Oakland and all of a sudden you're going into the Baltimore series with them kind of heating up and then you kind of cooling off. You hear people say all the time, well, you got the Yankees getting hot at the right time. Well, there's still, 9 or so games remaining. You got 3 series left. So that's plenty of time to cool off and for other teams to heat up. So you have to keep your foot on the pedal. The job is certainly not finished just because they made the postseason. But we're gonna discuss this. So we will dive into this series right away. The Yankees take 2 out of 3 in Seattle over the Mariners. Let's get right into it. And we'll discuss this series game by game. And then we'll have a few things to discuss after we talk about this series specifically. The first game of the series, the Yankees won on Tuesday, 11-2 over the Mariners. The righty heel versus the righty woo. The Yankees cracked 11 runs on 12 hits. They had 6 extra base hits, 4 walks, struck out only 8 times, and they went 5 for 12 with runners in scoring position. This was their best offensive performance of the series, and they scored 7 runs on a really good pitcher named Brian Root. Listen, Seattle's a non-contender this year because their lineup is awful. Their pitching rotation, their pitching period, their bullpen and their rotation is the number one in baseball. They're a really good pitching team, and it's very rare that a team with such great pitching doesn't contend. So you thought, that they were going to continue this offensive performance into games 2 and 3. They did not, but they still did enough to take 2 out of 3. But they scored 7 runs on a good pitcher in Brian Woo in 4 2/3 innings. Right away, they start up. Top of the first inning, Aaron Judge with a 2-run double to left field off a hanging slider, 2-0 Yankees. Top of the second, Judge up again, gets a fastball up in the zone, and punishes it for a 2-run single to make it 4-0. And then top of the 4th inning, Soto comes to the plate, had a good series for himself, and he gets a 96-mile-an-hour heater low and inside, and he takes it 410 feet the other way to left center field. I mean, a 2-run home run to make it 6-1. The guy's power is super fucking impressive. Top of the 5th, speaking of impressive power, Jason Dominguez with a solo home run on a changeup low in the zone. He takes it 414 to dead center field. That knocks Brian Wu out of the game. It's 7-1. You know, Dominguez's power is also super impressive. The kid's starting to hit, and maybe we'll get to that if I can remember later in the show. That was it for Wu after 4 2/3. The Seattle Pen, the Yankees got to them. They scored 3 runs on them in the final few innings. Top of the 6th, Austin Wells. One second here. Austin Wells in the top of the 6th inning picks up a big 3-run bases clearing double. He gets a sinker low and inside and connects with it. And this was off a left-handed pitcher. It was off Diaz. So there you go. That was nice to see. Austin Wells slugging against a lefty. That makes, I think it was 10-1 after that. Pretty much puts this game away. Top of the 9th, Oswaldo Cabrera off of a position player from the right side of the plate, going righty on righty. Picks up a righty on lefty. I don't know if it was right, but he was batting from the right side, which he doesn't often do. Picks up an RBI base hit, and the final score of this game was 11-2. So Torres goes 3 for 4 with a double. Made some nice plays at second base in this game. Soto goes 2 for 2, double, home run, 2 walks, 2 RBIs. Picked up his 40th home run of the season. It was also the 200th home run of his career, and that home run was also a home run that made it 30 ballparks where Soto has now homered in. He has homered in every single ballpark already in his career. A reminder, this kid is 25 years old, okay? 25 years old, and he's homered in every single ballpark. That's disgusting. Following up that next half inning, he did make a tough play in right field. But we'll ignore that because they won. Judge goes 2 for 4, double, walk, 4 RBIs. It was his 35th double of the season, so that's kind of a quiet stat there. Nice to see that. Wells goes 1 for 5 with that double, 3 RBIs. Dominguez 1 for 4, homer, walk, RBI. Cabrera 2 for 5, RBI. He got the start over Anthony Volpe at shortstop in this game. Verdugo goes 1 for 5, and Stanton does not play. Luis Gil on the mound for New York in this game. 5 innings, 1 run, 4 hits, a hit batter, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, 1 home run, 91 pitches, and he gets the win. He was wild again. His slider, he was going to that very often early on in the game, but it was out of the zone. The fastball wasn't really in the zone either. But right away, bottom of the 1st inning, the first pitch he throws hits Victor Robles. And then you get the pair of 1-out walks that he issues to Cal Raleigh and Randy Rosarina. And then with a 3-0 count, with the bases loaded, he has a 3-0 count to Justin Turner. It's looking really bad. There are 2 outs, but Robles, with 2 outs and a 3-0 count, tries to steal home. It goes as you expect. He gets caught stealing, and the Yankees escape. Gil gets away with murder. Idiotic decision. And at some point, there was when both of those kids, Robles and Soto, were prospects in Washington's system, I actually was very high on Robles over Soto. I remember myself being like, Robles is going to be the guy. Turns out he's making stupid mistakes. He actually has had a good year this year, but horrendous decision to bail Luis Gil out. Bottom of the 2nd, the only damage Luis Gil allowed on the scoreboard was the Polanco solo home run off of a hanging slider. That made it 4-1 Yankees, though. regardless. To complete 5 innings like that, 1 run, despite not having his best stuff, that's impressive. And it's a very important trait and an impressive trait for a young starting pitcher like that to not always have your best stuff. Like there's quite a few games this year where Luis Seal hasn't had his best control and command, but he's still, you look at this, the box score, keeps his team in the game. And that's the type of shit you see like aces do. Like Garrett Cole is known for doing that. So to see that trait sorry, I almost lost my spot because I thought my tablet wasn't charged. So literally had to almost start recording again because it was a 5%. Got the alert. So thank God we're good. Sorry about that. Where were we? Yeah, to see a trait like that from Luis Seal, really friggin' neat, you know? So he's, again, 91 pitches. He goes 46 four-seamer, 26 slider, 19 change. So the usual where he's been going to the slider more. He's going slider to righties, change up to lefties. Threw a filthy slider to Justin Turner for a strikeout in the second inning. Got him swinging at that. His changeup got a lot of swing and miss in this game. So, you know, it's all dependent on how those secondary pitches are working. But yeah, like he's not been his, you know, ace-like self from since his return, but he's still, you look up again, 3 games started since his return, 16 innings, 2 runs. So he's still been getting the job done. Now the velocity's been down since his return. It's been down a tick, you know, and it's a little concerning to me. I don't know if it's fatigue. I don't know if he's conserving energy, conserving that for the postseason, but he's usually around 97, 98. He's not really been there as consistently since his return. He's been more around 95, which is not enough. But hopefully that starts building back up again as he gets more starts in to conclude the regular season and he's ready for the playoffs. But this kid's, regardless, he's had a hell of a year. I mean, he's been, like, people were talking about the Rookie of the Year race. I'm not giving it to Austin Wells. Austin Wells has had a good year. Luis Seal, in my opinion, has run away with this thing. I don't care that he's missed some time. He's been consistent from day one. I mean, the Yankees lost Garrett Cole in the preseason. You know, shit hit the fan. And, you know, who the hell was going to step up? And remember, for at least a month, Luis Seal was pitching to a sub-2. I mean, he was insane. Without Garrett Cole, he stepped up, and he was that guy. And he's been that guy all year. Let's be honest. He's been really consistent from day one to day 153, wherever we are at this point. He's been that guy. So I'm giving it to Luis Seal. If the season ends today, Luis Seal's getting the Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. You know, argue all you want, you know, as to if he's a real rookie, but by the books, he is, and I think he deserves to get that award. The bullpen goes 4 innings after that. Meza goes 1, no runs, a walk, a strikeout, and Stroman goes 3, allows a run on 5 hits, strikes out 3, gets the save. You know, he allowed that leadoff home run in the bottom of the 8th, leaves a slider up in the zone to Raleigh. That makes it 10-2, but that was it. The Yankees win 11-2. And that was the first game on Tuesday. On Wednesday, the Yankees won in extras. 2-1 win in 10 innings. The lefty Cortez versus the righty Miller. The Yankees scored just 2 runs on 3 hits, 2 doubles, 5 walks. They struck out 15 times, grounded into a double play, and they were 2 for 7 with runners in scoring position. Jim Wolf, the home plate umpire, was tough on them, but I thought they were mostly close calls. There was one egregious one. Was it to Wells? I forget who it was to. But I thought most of them were just close calls that, you know, people were going to get mad about. But he was calling the game tight. the Yankees, in my opinion, still had to do more. Against Miller, they let him mow them down. Just 1 run in 6 innings. They crack first in the top of the 2nd inning. Dominguez walks, steals a base, advances to 3rd on the bad throw, and then he gets home when Rizzo steps up to the plate and rips an RBI single. Top 3, the Yankees had a chance to get more. Soto doubles, Judge gets intentionally walked, and then Wells walks. So you got the bases juiced with 2 outs for Jazz Chisholm, but he strikes out swinging at a splitter left up in the zone. It just takes a huge hack at it. We've mentioned before, obviously I love Jazz. He's a horrendous 2-strike hitter. Against the Seattle Pen, the Yankees scored 1 run in 4 innings. That was in the top of the 10th. Tie game at 1. Snyder's in the game. Rizzo's at the plate. I think Dominguez is on second as the Manfred runner. And then Rizzo picks up the leadoff double down the left field line, or to left field. It was a line drive to left field. Nice to see that. Nice to see the pull power there from Rizzo. That's been we're seeing a little bit more pull power lately. So that makes it 2-1. And there's your final eventually. Soto goes 1 for 2 with 2 walks and a double. It was his 30th double of the season. Dominguez goes 0 for 3 with a walk, 2 strikeouts. He let a ball drop in center field in the 2nd inning. The first of 2. Rizzo goes 2 for 4, 2 RBIs and a double. Torres 0 for 5, Volpe 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts. He had an egregious bunt attempt with a pop-up in the 10th inning. And then Stanton did not play once again. Cortez goes 5 strong. The Pen goes 4. Canely got 2/3 of an inning. No runs, 1 strikeout, a walk. He was definitely off mechanically in this game. He was kind of yanking pitches to the inside. Everything was way inside. But he got off the job done. He was pulled for Holmes, who goes 2/3 of an inning, 1 run, 1 hit, 1 walk, a home run to blow the save. So he comes in, bottom of the 8th inning, and completely, erases the Yankee 1-0 lead. He leaves the slider, middle, horrible slider, just middle of the plate to Justin Turner. And on a 1-1 pitch, Turner smacks it to left field to tie the game with a solo home run. Amazing. It's absolutely amazing. This guy's been demoted, and he's still finding a way to blow saves. Since his demotion, this was entering yesterday. So this isn't updated, but entering yesterday since his demotion, he had pitched in 5 games, 4 innings, 2 runs, 5 base runners, a home run, 2 blown saves. So I don't know what Boone was thinking here. The Pen was on 2 days rest. Why go to Holmes? What's the point of demoting Holmes if he's still going to be in high leverage moments and late in the game? Like, you pulled Canely because you don't want that changeup versus righties. Sure, right? Canely's a reverse splits guy. He throws that changeup away from the lefty, but you had 3 right-handed pitchers available. Maybe Cousins was the pectoral muscle that Cousins hurt in Game 3 was actually from earlier, and that's why he wasn't available in Game 2. But you still had Weaver to go to an inning earlier. You could have went to Hamilton. You could have pushed everybody back. You didn't have to go to Holmes there. And that's a big concern for the postseason, which we're going to talk about that in a little bit. What else? So after Holmes, it was Weaver for an inning and 2/3, no runs, no hits, a walk, 4 strikeouts. And then Hamilton pitched an inning, no runs, a hit, 2 strikeouts. He lets up the leadoff single to put runners on first and third late in the game there. But he strikes out of Rosarina, and then Julio's picked off at third base when Rosarina lets go of his bat. Julio Rodriguez trying to avoid the bat. Idiotic decision number 2 from Seattle this series, and he gets thrown out. Amazing. And then he strikes out Turner swinging. He goes fastball up, Slambio. No, he goes Slambio, then he goes fastball up. Yeah. And then he strikes him out swinging there. So the Yankees clinch after that. Before we talk about the clinch party they had, I'm going to tip my cap to a Yankee reliever from this series, and that Yankee reliever is, once again, Luke Weaver. That's not him. Here he is. Luke Weaver this series, an inning and 2/3. No runs, 4 strikeouts, a walk, like we said, no hits. no home runs, no singles, doubles, triples, 29 pitches, got the win on Wednesday, and just continues to do his thing. In this game, he saved the day, really. Bottom of the 8th inning, he was just dotting fastballs once again. He gets Polanco to strike out swinging on a fastball outside. He gets Garver on a called strike 3, on a cutter in on the hands. And then top of the 9th comes. He gets Raley to strike out swinging on a changeup low and away. And then he gets Julio to strike out swinging to end the inning. He goes changeup low and in. He starts out going 4-seam, cutter, 4-seam, changeup, 4-seam, changeup. Gets Julio striking out swinging. So he's been filthy for the Yankees all year. He's been incredible. He's kind of becoming their go-to. He's become their go-to. He's been their go-to guy. Let's be honest. I wonder if he's just going to be their closer in the playoffs. That's going to be something I'm interested in seeing. But he's got that hard 4-seamer with a filthy fade on that changeup. It's just so hard to hit, and occasionally he'll mix in that cut fastball. But he throws strikes, gets outs. He's efficient. He's quick. He works very quickly, and you got to love Luke Weaver's energy too. That's going to play up in the postseason. So, tipping my cap to Luke Weaver. That's the 9th time where we're doing that this season. So after this game 2, the Yankees, this was the official clinch of postseason berth. They clinched the postseason. And, they were celebrating in the clubhouse with champagne. They had the goggles. I've kind of gone back and forth on this over the years. I feel like mostly over the years I've been against it. And, I'm not going to lie. It's weird. This is just my opinion. So if you don't share the same opinion, okay. But, to me, it's a little weird seeing them celebrate so much. It's not my cup of tea. I think it's a little participation-y, especially from the New York Yankees. The New York Yankees are supposed to make the playoffs. You signed Juan Soto to play next to Aaron Judge. The only reason you didn't make the playoffs last year is because Aaron Judge hurt his toe. You're supposed to make the postseason. Okay, the postseason is I sound like a spoiled Yankees fan, but I just call it being competitive. That's the Yankees. You make the playoffs. And I really believe most teams should have that mentality of all right, let's go. It's about winning a championship. No other sport does it. I don't think the NBA celebrates round to round. I don't think the NHL does that. I don't think the NFL does that. But in baseball, you'll see some teams do that, and the Yankees did. And the Dodgers clinched last night. They had a little champagne. It wasn't anything as loud, and the ruckus was nothing like it was in Booney's clubhouse. And I think that might be a Boone effect. I don't remember the Yankees teams that, I'm going to sound like a boomer here, I grew up with doing that, or at least making it that big of, they went nuts. You got some funny clips out of it, right? Jazz went live on IG. I was kind of watching some of it, not going to lie. But it is weird. I'm not going to kill him for it. Whatever, have fun. But just my first instinct was, that's interesting, But, have your fun, whatever. This is a new generation where everybody gets a trophy. Everybody's happy. La, la, la. I get it, I guess. But, yeah, that was a little interesting to me. And, it set them up for that hangover game on Thursday. But before we do touch on Thursday, let's touch more on Nestor Cortez, who I'm going to tip my cap to as well from this game. Nestor Cortez was phenomenal. Now we get to him. 6 innings in this game, game 2. No runs, 4 hits, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, no home runs allowed, 97 pitches and the no decision. He pitched an absolute gem. 34 four-seamers, 28 cutters, 23 changeup, 11 sliders, sweeper, whatever you want to call it, 1 sinker. So he was the usual... his usual primary sequencing has been 4-seam cutter. He was doing that again. He was setting up the cutter with the 4-seamer. The cutter was very effective. Seattle was 0 for 9 on the pitch. He got a lot of swing and miss with it. He was going front door, back door, painting the edges. The 4-seamer was good. He was going to that, again, early in the count to set up the cutter, and he was going to it often. The changeup was obviously only going to that pitch versus righties. Seattle put it in play a lot, but they were 1 for 6. So it generated some good soft contact. And then, the slider, sweeper, whatever you want to fucking call it. He kept that pitch going. He kept that back door, and he got some good swing and miss with it. So a good outing for Nestor Cortes. He escaped the jam in the bottom of the second. As I'm looking up at the TV, I had no idea the Jersey Shore was still a TV show. Huh. Guess some people want to stay relevant. Escaped the jam in the bottom of the second. Justin Turner with the leadoff double. He gets Polanco to pop up on a cut fastball. Gets Garver to strike out, going four-seam cutter, four-seam cutter, four-seam, four-seam. But then Crawford picks up a base hit to make it runners on the corners with 2 outs. Haneker's at the plate. And some really good four-seam cutter sequencing again, where he goes 3 straight four-seamers, and then he finishes him with a cutter low and away to strike him out. So that was good to see him escape that jam. Bottom 3, he has a nice quick 1-2-3 rebound with 3 ground outs on 8 pitches. He gets Moore to ground out to second base. Julio grounds out to third base. Rizzo makes a nice pick there. And then Cal Raleigh grounds out to third base as well. So that was a quick inning. Bottom 5, he gets into another jam that he escapes where Haniger picks up a leadoff base hit. He gets Moore to strike out on a foul tip, going four-seam cutter, sinker, cutter. He gets Julio to strike out swinging, going cutter, slider, four-seam change. So mixing it up there. Raleigh picks up a base hit to put runners on the corners again, but then a Rosarina flies out to Soto on a four-seam middle out. Bottom 6, Justin Turner picks up a leadoff walk on 6 pitches. All of them are outside the zone. On the outside part of the plate. And then Polanco, though, he gets him to ground into a double play. Rizzo makes another nice pick on this play. And that was it. Nestor goes 6 strong, 6 shutout. He was on fire. He's been on fire, man. He's been on fire. He's allowed 1 run or less in 6 of his last 7 appearances. So during that span, the ERA has jumped from, or has dropped from 4.42 to 3.77 during that span. So he's been great. Does that change my opinion on where I want him pitching in the postseason? No. I think we have to respect guys like Luis Gil, who, again, is the Rookie of the Year favorite. I see a lot of disrespect on him favoring Cortes. It's like, what? I can't believe people think Cortes should get a start over Gil in a postseason game where swing and miss is very important. What Gil's done, I'm not removing his spot for Cortes. There might be another guy, which we'll talk about that in a little bit, but I still want Cortes in this bullpen role. But good start for him. And he now has on the season, let's see if I can pull it up, 10 salutes on the season for Nestor Cortes, so good for him. So he secures that win on Wednesday. But yesterday, the Yankees lose 3-2. This was their only loss of the series. The righty Schmidt versus the righty Gilbert. Schmidt goes 5 innings, 3 runs, only 1 of them earned. 6 hits, 3 walks, though. 7 strikeouts, a hit batter in there. So he had allowed 7, 8, 9, 10 base runners in 5 innings. Not good. No home runs allowed, though. 99 pitches. Unfortunately, he took the loss. He looked okay, and at the end of the day, 3 starts since his return, and he's gone 15 and a third innings, 3 earned runs. So him too, despite not being dominant yet, really good. He wasn't sharp early, but he also didn't get help from his defense. Bottom of the first, yes, he lets up the leadoff single. Then he loses the zone to a Rosarina with his cutter and sweeper. Couldn't find the strike zone there. Walks him. And then, kind of bobbles that Luke Raley bunt. So that loads the bases with 1 out. That's all on Clark Schmidt. But then he gets a sac fly, fly ball to Dominguez. Turner's credited with the sac fly. Dominguez drops the ball. He's in left field. He comes over to his left. The ball lands at his glove, and it pops out. So I lost it in the sun, hung over, whatever you want to say. That's an excuse. That can't happen. That's pathetic. 2 in a row like that, awful. Makes it 1-0 Seattle. Blake comes out to visit. Gives up another fly ball off the bat of Polanco. This one goes to Soto. Soto catches it, but it's a sac fly to make it 2-0. And then Crawford picks up a RBI single off of a 91-mile-an-hour cutter up in the zone. Can't do that to make it 3-0 Mariners. So he wasn't great. But at the end of the day, 3 runs, only one of them earned in those 5 innings. The bats for the Yankees in this game, 2 runs on 6 hits, 2 extra base hits, 3 walks, 14 strikeouts. They were 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position. They struck out a whole lot in these final couple games. Versus Gilbert, they only had 2 runs on him in 5 1/3. He was good. He had his filthy splitter in this game. The splitter was getting everybody. Top of the second, Seattle's up 3-0. The Yankees had a chance to score, but they wasted it. Dominguez picks up a leadoff double after making that blunder. But Volpe comes to the plate, and he actually picks up a 2-out base hit, but Dominguez gets caught going home from a nice throw by Cal Raleigh. So, had a chance to get on the board, didn't. They do get on the board top 3. Seattle's still up 3-0. Judge picks up a 2-out base hit. And then Jazz Chisholm gets a cutter up in the zone that he mashes for a 2-run home run. So it's 3-2. But they don't really do anything after that. So, top of the 4th, they had another chance to score, wasted it. Dominguez and Rizzo pick up base hits to start the inning. Nobody's out. Trevino flies out to left field. Volpe and Torres, after that, though, they each strike out swinging on splitters in the dirt. Top of the 5th. Another chance to score, wasted. Judge walks. He steals second. And then now it's Jazz and Stanton striking out, swinging on splitters in the dirt. So he had that filthy splitter working. And then top 9 versus Munoz, who is filthy. Guy throws 100, 102, 103 sometimes. He's filthy. But they can't get the job done against him. Notable in this inning was Cabrera pinch hitting for Volpe. He ends up striking out. But yeah, Dominguez goes 2 for 4 in this game with a double. Jazz goes 1 for 4 with a home run, 2 RBIs. Judge goes 1 for 3 with a walk. Soto, or Wells, we'll get to Soto in a second. Wells, got a pinch hit appearance in this game because he didn't start for whatever reason. Didn't do anything with it. He's kind of struggled lately. He's 1 for his last 16. I hope he's healthy. I hope that wrist isn't bothering him. When he got hit by a pitch in Texas, he's been struggling versus velocity lately. So I'm hoping that's nothing to do with the wrist and that it's not affecting his bat speed. But just something to note and keep an eye out for. The bullpen, 3 innings. Cousins goes the 3rd of an inning, no runs, a strikeout, hits a batter. He left the game with, as I said, pec tightness. I think he's okay. It looked like it was, at the time, I'm worrying, worst case scenario, did he blow out his arm throwing a slider? Seems like he's okay. Boone says just a few days off, so we'll see where that goes. Hill goes an inning and 2/3 after that. No runs, 2 walks, strikes out a batter. Holmes goes 1 inning, no runs, a walk. Also getting hurt in this game, Juan Soto. We're going to tip our cap to Juan Soto because Juan Soto had a hell of a series. He was 3 for 7, a .429 batting average. Also walked 5 times to help him get an 1810 OPS in this series. 2 doubles, 1 homer, 2 RBIs, 5 walks. And he also stole a base in these 3 games. So he looked excellent. He's coming back around. The numbers are incredible on the season. He's batting .286 with a .993 OPS, 30 bombs, 30 doubles, 4 triples, 40 bombs, 103 ribbies. He's been amazing. He didn't leave the game, but he got hurt late in the game, where he crashed his knee into the wall, making a nice play. He's getting x-rays on his knee today, so I'm sure that's going to come back soon. If it hasn't already, I haven't looked at my phone yet this morning. It sounds like he sounded like he was in good spirits. He said at first he was a little worried, but he sounds like he said he's fine now. But also by the way he was speaking and by the way the Yankees are talking about it, he's probably going to miss the Oakland series. Well, he's probably going to miss at least one game this series. I'm thinking they're going to be precautious and give him until the Baltimore series. But we'll see. Hopefully he's okay, because I can't allow that thought into my mind right now. You do got to worry about the health of these guys, but at the same time, I want a lot of them to get reps. You know, I want a lot of these Yankees to play every single day. You know, the Yankees, I criticize them a lot for pampering some of these guys. Stop pampering these grown-ass men, right? I mean, you see what happens when you're a little tough with them, right? Torres was benched, right? And he's been productive since. You know, that's happened before with Torres in the past, where he's gotten benched and he's picked it up after. You know, you put Cortez to the pen, you know, because he had been struggling. Ever since that appearance, he's been productive since, right? He's thrown gems as a starter now. But, like, I do want, in terms of their lineup consistency, the rest of the way here, because you still have to win the division, you got to play guys every day. You got to give your A lineup reps. So that means Austin Wells. That means Giancarlo Stanton. That means Jason Dominguez. They need to play every single day the rest of the way here. At the end of the day, you're in the midst of a baseball season. It's going to be a marathon. It's going to be a drag. Nobody's going to be 100% fresh in October. That's how baseball works. You can ask, Yankees champions of the past, 2009. Derek Jeter played 153 games, 716 plate appearances, played in every single playoff game, and he was phenomenal. Jorge Posada was 38 years old that season, played 111 games, played in every single playoff game. Austin Wells is a 25-year-old catcher. Okay? He's going to be fine. Let him play. He's got to be the everyday catcher in the postseason. He needs reps. He should have been given these reps all this time against left-handed pitching when they were afraid to put him out there. He should have gotten those reps, because what happens now when he goes out there in the playoffs and he's facing Framber and he's facing Cole Reagans and he's facing that rookie lefty that Baltimore has? You know, you spend all that time hiding him. Well, now he's probably going to be your starter in the postseason. Now he's got to face lefties that you didn't let him get reps against in the regular season. You know, Stanton. What are we doing with Stanton? What are we doing with Stanton? He gets 3 days off in a row. He gets the day off, and then he gets the first 2 days off in the series. The guy needs reps. He's the guy who needs to keep his blood, flowing. Keep him up. He's already he's a DH. He's a DH. His job is to get off his ass 4 times a game and swing a bat. He needs to hit. He needs to play every single day. There's no reason he should be sitting. He can do that. Grown-ass men being pampered. He needs to see good pitching. He needs to see pitches. The best pitching staff in the league would have been a great opportunity for him to see how that's going to be, to help him out in the postseason. I saw Gilbert. I saw whoever the fuck Seattle threw out there this series. Let him face good pitching, because he's going to see good pitching in the postseason. Dominguez, we got to cut the platoon out. I think we're starting to cut the platoon out. But, this is a guy who, again, Yankees fans were so adamant on getting him up here before September because they wanted him to get reps. Not just reps at the plate, but outfield reps, because that was one of the concerns. Verdugo's a good left fielder. Dominguez, well, let him get those outfield reps. That's probably why he should have been up here earlier than he did. Let him bat righty. Let him see lefties. You're afraid. Again, they're hiding the weaknesses. That's not how you improve weaknesses. So the rest of the way here, these guys got to play every day. Let them play the remaining 9 games, whatever it is. If you want to get rest when you win the division, give them a day off at the end of the season. That's fine. But you're going to have 5 days off after that if you win the division. If you win the division, which at this point, Jesus Christ, you better, you're going to get the 5 days. That's where you get your rest. You're in the middle of the baseball season. I'm sorry to break it to you. Fatigue is going to be a thing. You're going to have to do things you don't want. You know? I would say like Cabrera should be getting everyday reps, but you kind of wasted all year not doing so. Right? You're not going to sit Rizzo at this point. He's going to be your first baseman. You should have used those LeMahieu reps on Cabrera midsummer when Rizzo was out, but you didn't because you were worried about hurting the veterans' feelings and roughing up the clubhouse. Volpe's not going to sit, you know. So Cabrera should have got those first base reps. But, like, listen, Volpe's going to play. I'm praying that Volpe figures it out because he's key to this lineup. If you get Anthony Volpe hitting at the bottom of that order, forget about it. You know? So I'm praying and I'm hoping that he finds a little bit of rhythm before the postseason begins in a few weeks because this looks bad. You know, Cabrera, you know, I wish, like, they would have given Cabrera some more reps at shortstop, given Volpe some more days. You know, when you got a hard-throwing right-handed pitcher on the mound, maybe that's a game where Cabrera gets reps. But, you know, it's bad that we're going into the postseason and the starting shortstop of the Yankees is once again a hole. You know, he's had a really bad year. Yes, the batting average is a little bit higher, but that comes with no power. He's not walking. You know, the last 19 games, he's got a 197 slugging percentage. Actually, I think he's gone 20 games in a row now where he's not had an extra base hit. So it's really ugly. You know, he's going up there and, you know, his whole thing as a prospect was he's got this good approach. He's pull happy right now. You know, he's like falling into this Gleyber Torres trap where Gleyber Torres hit, you know, a surprising amount of home runs earlier in his career. And then Volpe, you know, last year he hits over 20. It's kind of falling into that trap. And I heard a good point. They were talking about it on John Boy's podcast. Jake brought it up. You know, pick one. Because he's kind of in between right now. That's what they were kind of saying. Like he's doesn't know what he's doing up there. Pick one. Are you going to be this slap hitter who goes the other way? Or are you going to get your A swing off and try to get that bomb? Pick one right now. Because we'd rather have you on one side than in between. I think I thought that was a good way to put it. But yeah, he looks awful up there. His mechanics look awful. His hips are opening up. There's too much movement there. His head movement is awful. He's pulling his head out. His head is just it's nodding. It's moving. He's not still. He needs stillness, and he's not still. So, any production from him at this point, average offensive production would be a win. You know, because this whole defense first garbage, it's not fooling anybody anymore. You tried to sell the fans and trick them on that and lie to them, manipulate them that like this kid was supposed to be defense. And the bat wasn't the exciting part. No, New York fans aren't dumb. They know their shit. This kid was supposed to hit. He was a highly touted top 5 prospect on the pipeline, number 1 in the Yankee system because of his bat. Right? Look at other young shortstops around the league, and they're thriving. It's just making me jealous. Like, I'm looking at C.J. Abrams. I'm looking at Gunnar Henderson. I'm looking at Nito in L.A. Like, the Yankees passed on Seager. They passed on Turner because they sold you that this kid was going to hit. But now you're moving the goalposts. You're changing the narrative because you don't want to be wrong. I know we bring this up a lot, but, like, it's just bothering me. You know, it's the same things you heard about Sanchez. They started moving the goalposts with that. Remember, all you heard was, well, no other catchers are producing. Like, no, that's not supposed to be the standard. The standard was what you had in the scouting reports. It's what you did as an organization because of that. But he's going to be starting. He's going to be starting at shortstop every single day of the postseason because the Yankees have been hell-bent on Anthony Volpe being the next Derek Jeter since the second he debuted. That's just the way they roll with him. So he's going to be in there every day. The postseason roster is going to be interesting, man. I'm very curious because it goes back to 26. Right now you're at 27. You're allowed the extra man in September. It goes back to 26. That first round. Now, when the Yankees were in the playoffs in 2022, they carried 14 bats and 12 arms, I believe. So I'm curious. So let's go through this roster. The guarantees, the guys who are guaranteed, Torres, Soto, Judge, Wells, Stanton, Jazz, Dominguez, probably, right? Yeah, Rizzo, Volpe. So that's 9. Trevino 10 because you need a catcher. You need a backup catcher. Let's say Verdugo probably going to make the roster, because the Yankees are still kind of doing a platoon, or they're still playing him even when they play Dominguez, and I think the Yankees like Verdugo's defense, so they're going to keep him there. Cabrera will probably make it because of his versatility. That's 12 guys. I think John Birdie's going to make it because he can run. They like him pinch running late in games. He's got speed. He's in the 94th percentile in sprint speed. So it's 13 position players right there. So maybe they do go 13 and 13. Because I can't think of, if Dominguez is going to be carried, I don't think they're going to carry Grisham. So yeah, you go to your pitching, and Cole, obviously that's your ace. Rodon, you signed him for the postseason, so that's 15 guys. Luis Heel, Rookie of the Year favorite. He will make the roster at the very least. 16. Schmidt, 17. He looks great in his return. We'll talk about what role in a second. Cortez, 18. Right? Yeah. Cortez, 18, because, again, it's either going to be he, Schmidt, or Heel, maybe out of the bullpen as that, long man. 19, Weaver, obviously he's part of your core. Canely will be in there, so it's 20 guys. He's a part of your core. Cousins has become a part of your core. If he's okay, he'll be 21. Hamilton will be in there. He's kind of becoming part of that core again. 22 guys, that makes it. Hill is the 23rd guy, let's say. He'll be in there as that lefty specialist. I see the Yankees putting, unfortunately, Clay Holmes on there. There's no way they're not going to put Clay Holmes on there. So that's 24. I'm really concerned, because if he's on it, he's going to be used in high leverage moments. Look at how they're using him now. 24. So let's say he's the 24th. And then 25th. The 25th guy, 25th and 26th, right? There's 26 you're allowed. So 25 and 26, it's going to be between Stroman, Leiter, Efros, Poteet, Trevino, and Meza, right? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys that you got to choose 2 of them. If it's Meza, if he's one of them, it's because they want the extra lefty. But I think that's why they're carrying Tim Hill. I can't see Efros or Trevino at this point in the season making it. Trevino. Maybe one of those spots goes to Leiter just because the Cashman pride. Cashman's going to do everything it takes to get him on there. I feel like he could make that because the Yankees sold you that he's going to have this big swing and miss splitter. And, despite him being absolutely abominable, it's just that Yankee pride. We traded for him. We're going to have him on there. Poteet, I don't know if he's going to make it because the Yankees already have their length piggyback guys, right? It could be Stroman. I think there's a chance that Stroman makes the first round roster because just they need somebody to eat innings and play that mop-up guy in a blowout, or maybe be that emergency starting pitcher. I don't think that's going to happen, but he could make it. So those last 2 roster spots are probably going to be between, they're probably deciding between Stroman, Leiter, Efros, Poteet, Trevino, and Meza. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's again, I you know, are the Yankees going to carry less bats, more arms because they've done that in the past? We'll see. They could carry more arms, right? Because the way Boone likes to use his relievers. And that's what, the decision making scares me when it comes to the bullpen. Boone loves to use his pen. He loves to use his pen. So he might carry more pitchers because he's going to go to his relievers earlier than usual in the postseason, I feel like. Which, I just, the way they've been using Cole in 90 and you're done, that's your ace. They haven't even, tried stretching him out to 110. Other guys don't even get that limit, or don't even get that much. They don't let guys throw many pitches anymore. So that scares the crap out of me because, just the more the more relief pitchers that you use, the likeliness of one of them having an off night increases. Even if you're using 4 guys in the game, 5 guys in a game, let's say you go to 5 relievers in a playoff game and they each have had great years for you, right? They all had sub 3s in the regular season, and there's still the likeliness that one of them is going to be off because the more you add, the more chance that one of them is going to be off. It's just how that works. And I worry because the Yankees they will pull a starting pitcher or they will pull a certain relief pitcher simply because they are hell-bent on certain splits. They love splits to their own fault sometimes. They look too closely at it when sometimes a number 8 hitter is a number 8 hitter, So that's where the Holmes usage and the role that he's going to be in scares the crap out of me. They don't really see Holmes as a bad pitcher. They see him as an unlucky pitcher. They got bullied into having to demote him, and that wasn't until December. Holmes, the way Boone spoke about him yesterday. Yesterday was September 19th, and Boone, talks about him leaving a slider in the middle of the plate. He's like, he gets snake bitten a lot. That's what he said. He's always bringing up luck when it comes to Clay Holmes. They still don't understand. Don't get me wrong, the Yankees pitching is good. I'm not worried about their pitching in particular. It's been locked down lately. They've allowed 4 runs or less in 11 of their last 13 games. That's since that Cubs series. Cortez has turned it around. Stroman's been fine. Schmidt's been great. Heel looks solid. Rodon's been solid for a bit. The bullpen's solidifying. Weaver, Canely, Hamilton, Cousins. You could throw Tim Hill in there. Yes. But there's a difference because one mistake in the regular season is completely different than one mistake in the postseason. You can get past it and forget about it in the regular season because it doesn't affect anything else. One mistake, you have another game tomorrow. Can't do that in the playoffs. You can't afford that. Because if you're in a decisive game 5 and Boone goes to Clay Holmes in high leverage again because the number 8 hitter is a right-handed bat and Canely's out there throwing changeups and you don't want that against a righty. And Boone wants Holmes because he throws a 2-seamer. That scares me. That scares me because they're going to think like that. I don't know, man. That's where I get concerned. So, what does the bullpen look like? How is the bullpen used? And what does the rotation look like? The rotation, I'm still curious about that. I think everybody can agree that the 2 guarantees in your starting rotation at 1 and 2, games 1 and game 2, it's going to be Cole and Rodon, right? That's most likely going to be how that works. Your ace is going to be getting the ball game 1, and then your $162 million guy is going to be getting the ball game 2. That's most likely going to be how that works. The number 3 starter has become kind of more questionable as this month has progressed because you've got Nestor Cortez, who's, again, on a roll right now. He's solidified. He's kind of found himself. You feel comfortable with him because he's kind of a guy with a high floor. I personally don't love him as a starting pitcher in the playoffs. I want a guy with strikeout stuff. I want velo. I want all that. I prefer putting him in the bullpen as a long man. But you can eliminate that, and then you still have to worry about who's getting game 3. Is it going to be Schmidt? Is it going to be Heel? You know, those are also two guys who could get that game 3. Schmidt's got a high floor, right? Schmidt's made 14 starts this year. He's allowed 3 runs or less in every single one of them. So he's a guy you probably feel most comfortable with because he's got the stuff. Everything he throws moves, right? And he's got that just reliability. He's always going to keep you in the game. With Heel, there's a much higher upside where, say, one game your offense might not be producing any runs. You only score 1 run. Heel's got that upside to where he can go 6 innings of shutout ball and win you the game. So he's got the higher upside than Schmidt and Cortez, but he's probably got the lowest floor of those 3 just because of his control and stamina issues, right? You walk 3-4 guys in a postseason game, that's a disaster. So that number 3 spot's still up in the air. I'm very curious to see what the Yankees do. But folks, I think we're going to wrap it up here. We're almost an hour in, so we're going to head to break, get back, maybe preview this Oakland series coming up, and then we'll get to our trivia after that. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey there, thanks for listening in so far. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much. You can follow us on social media as well. On Instagram, we're at BD4Pod and at Rob J. Carbone. On X, we're at BD4Pod and at RJCBD4. And on Facebook, we're BD4. If you're interested in our website, just go to www.bd4blog.com. You can subscribe to our blog on there right on the front page. Just like on the podcast, we cover Yankees, Knicks, and MMA. Also on our website are the links to the different platforms for the podcast. Thanks so much.
All right, welcome back to the show, episode 712 of BD4. I appreciate you all tuning in. So the Yankees will wrap up this West Coast trip with a series in Oakland. I believe it's a 3-game set. These are, again, 9 p.m., 9:40 games. At least the first 2 are. And then the third one is a 4 p.m. game. The Yankees do struggle in Oakland. You know, that's a hellhole for them. But, like, I don't care. Like, get the job done. Don't make this close. Don't make that your excuse. This is a terrible, awful baseball team. They are awful. They're in 4th place, but they're 67-86. So they're on their way to another 90-plus loss season. They're a horrible team. They're 13 out of the wild card, so they're eliminated. This is a team that can't hit home runs, or they can hit home runs. They have home run power, but they don't score runs. That's about the only thing they do is they'll hit some home runs, but they don't score. They don't pitch well. The Yankees need to take care of them. Tonight, it's a 9:40 start. You got Garrett Cole going up against the right-hander, the right-handed rookie, JT Ginn, who's 6 starts in this year. He's pitched 23 2/3 innings. He has a 4.94 ERA, so that needs to be a guy that Yankees hit. Tomorrow, you got Carlos Rodon going up against former Yankee prospect J.P. Sears, who's had a decent season. You know, he's in 30 games this year. He's pitched 169 2/3 innings. He's 11-11 with a 4.24 ERA and a 120 WHIP. So he's been okay for them. But, you know, they should still probably hit him. He's a left-handed pitcher, though. So we'll see how the Yankees handle that. And then Game 3, which will be on Saturday, You have Luis Seal going up against Estes. Let me see if I can pull up what he's done this year. Hopefully I'm pronouncing the kid's name correctly. He's 7-8 with an ERA close to 5. So let's hammer that guy. 4.78 ERA, only 89 strikeouts at 118 2/3 innings. The Yankees should be able to handle that guy. He's a right-handed pitcher. He's a young rookie, or this is technically his second year, but he's still a rookie. So that's the Oakland series. They need to take care of this team and move on, and hopefully they can take the division by the end of this series, if that's possible. If not, I mean, there's a good chance that this division gets decided in the second to last series, which is against Baltimore at home. So let's take care of Oakland first, worry about that, and then that'll be that. So that's it. Let's wrap this up with our trivia question as soon as we return from our final break. Stay with us here on episode 712 of BD4. We'll be right back. Studio 69 Productions is a podcast production agency created by Leo Rodriguez to allow content creators to market their podcast. It's an online platform that will market your podcast or any other project that you're working on. Get in touch with Leo Rodriguez from Studio 69 Productions. You can find Studio 69 Productions on Instagram at Studio69NJ. Studio 69 Productions, where dreams are heard and born.
Thanks for listening to BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA, Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Episode 712 of the podcast, 712 episodes in. I appreciate you all tuning into the show. Let's wrap this up with our trivia question of the day, and that will be that. Let's get to it. Okay, so for this episode 712 of the podcast, little multiple choice question for you. When did Bob Sheppard become Yankee Stadium PA announcer? The 1940s, the 1950s, or 1960s? When did Bob Sheppard become Yankee Stadium PA announcer? The 1940s, 1950s, or 1960s? Let me know the answer. Folks, that's it. The Yanks clinch the playoffs in Seattle. I'm losing my voice. I'm going to order some lunch. I'm off today. Got some things to do, but gotta go order some lunch. And I think that's all on this podcast. I tell you what, man, I'm not into politics. I don't give two shits. I'm tired of these political commercials. Every single time I turn on the TV. And you know what's crazy to me? A little rant here at the end. Like, these guys go on and they pay for these ads. You're swaying nobody's opinion. So if you're like, a lot of these commercials are like, so-and-so is for this. And like, if you're watching from the other side, you're like, yeah, that's why I don't want you. Like, it's so weird how they try to, like, it's like the whole debate thing. Like, nobody's watching that shit to have their opinion swayed. They're watching it to hate the opponent more. Oh, it's crazy. I'm tired of these. I hate political years. Oh, the pandering from both sides, just constant. And I can't wait till it's over. But I do like this time of year. I like the fall time. I like postseason baseball. The Knicks are coming up. Football's back. College football's back. It's all fun. Just these ads are crazy. Folks, I hope you appreciated this episode. I hope you like listening to it, watching it, wherever you got your wherever you get your podcasts. Appreciate you tuning in to episode 712. I'm going to go. Yanks Oakland next. So let's hope that we have a division title by the end of this. Not sure what the magic number is now. I just know the magic number is very close. I don't know. They're up 4 with 9 games left, so you do the math. Later. This episode was brought to you by Anchor.
Hey there! If you stayed the entire way through, we thank you immensely for it. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and that you come back for the next episode real soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, download these episodes, and share them with your friends as well. BD4 is a 5-star podcast simply because of you, and we'd like to keep it that way. Have a wonderful day. Go Yankees, and go Knicks!